Hi, my name is Marilyn Taylor, and my business name is Marilyn Taylor Interiors. And I've been designing for about 3 years now. I started out when I first was getting into real estate investing, and that wasn't really going that well. And so I started working with a life coach and trying to figure out why maybe it wasn't working. And so she asked me to focus on what about the real estate investing I was passionate about, and it was design. It was making ugly things pretty. And so I really started to focus on that, and I went and I found an internship, and I studied with her for a couple of years, and then I started designing about 3 years ago. And it has been life-changing. It's amazing because I started out being a dancer. I would say that I've always been interested in design. It's something that I had a passion for even as a teenager. I would make my mom stop at just about every model home so I could go through and see the pretty decorations, and I would take photos and literally keep them in a photo album. Nerd. But that was it started then, and it's so interesting to fast forward now 20 years later that it took me this long to actually start doing it, or to have confidence or believe that I could actually do it. And I do have to pinch myself quite often that, you know, I walk into somebody's space that I've created, and that somebody would allow me into their home and would trust me to give them a space that reflects them and that they're happy with, and it's nuts. But so I would say that my style is Hollywood Regency meets boho chic. I always like glam. I was a ballerina after all, so it was all about the tutus back then. It wasn't the dancing. I wanted the pretty costume. And so now in my design world, I always reflect some of that princess in there, glamour. Even if it's for a male space, I always have a bit of sophistication. But yet, because of my world travels, I've been to a lot of third world countries. I loved India, Malaysia, Indonesia, Japan, and so you'll see a lot of that sort of influence, kind of the worldly influence, a lot of rustic. I love warmth, I love wood, I love texture. So you'll see a lot of that. My first bedroom in my first apartment that I decorated for myself, I did the wall. My inspiration for the walls was a dirty terracotta pot. So I did this orange on the walls with a glaze that just looked like dirt. And it sounds horrible saying it, but it was really pretty. And then I had Indian saris hanging all over the bed, and I called it my rustic princess room. So that definitely still reflects now. I would say my most challenging space was, I'm going to say my most challenging client was my first one, and it wasn't because I was new. It was because he was so opposite from me. He's an engineer, and so his brain is very, analytical, and he wanted to see every single option, and then after he saw every option for tile and paint and counters, then he wanted to see every combination of every option, and it was definitely challenging. But in the end, because I took the time to get to know who he was, what inspires him. He's a rock climber. He loves nature, but yet he had a lot of his parents' old, the vintage furniture, antiques and things like that he loved. And so the kitchen that I created for him had these rich burgundy plum, Bordeaux colored cabinets with brass hardware. And this was before brass was big. Trendsetter, hashtag. And then granite counters that had a lot of movement and that had little pops of plum in there, and then the wood look tile straight up the wall. And it was stunning. It was so beautiful and just very serene, soft green walls. And he was ecstatic. He loved it. And that was my first kitchen. So I think the most challenging thing about being a designer is you're a little bit of a therapist. You get into their head a little bit, or at least I do. I care deeply about not creating a space for me, that I'm creating a space for the client. And I take a lot of time to really get into their head, understand their lifestyle, what makes them passionate, how they function in this space, so that when they walk in, they get that rush of excitement or emotion about the space that they're entering that is theirs. And I want them to feel ownership of the space as well. So I'm really big on collaborating with them. The biggest renovation I've done yet is the one that I'm sitting in right now. Not only this was a client who sought us out before she ever bought a house. So she contacted my sister, and I don't think I mentioned, my sister and I work together. She's a general contractor, and we call ourselves the Property Sisters. And she found us on Houzz, and she sought us out and wanted us to help her even select the home from the beginning. And so we did that. We had her wish list, and we helped her select this home. It's a 1930s bungalow in Pasadena. And so we literally did the whole house. The only thing we've not done yet is the kitchen, and that's only because of budget. That's phase 2. But we gutted this place. We did everything but rip out the floors. We finished the floors. We moved walls around. We gave her a bigger master bathroom. We borrowed the closet from the master bedroom and then borrowed space from the room next to it to give her closet back, just to use the space better. And this client is a powerful woman. She's a commissioner for the city of Pasadena, but she is vibrant. She is a lot of fun. And so her space really needed to reflect that. Just to give you a little idea of her personality, she calls this house Queen's Landing after the Game of Thrones. And she is the queen, and we all bow. And, oh my gosh, she was so much fun to work with. I called her my junior designer, and she has great taste. But it was one of those things where she just was so all over the place, and she and I really worked together and collaborated well to give her a vibrant space that really reflects who she is. And I'm going to give you a little tour in a minute and show you around so you can see the spaces that we did. But I'm very, very proud of this home, and it definitely was the biggest undertaking, because not only did I remodel, but I also redecorated every single room. So it was a huge job. And I would say that was my favorite job so far, for sure. And then as far as styles that I work in, I do them all. Because I've worked with house flippers, I've done modern homes, I've done a Cape Cod, I've done, this home, which is very Hollywood Regency. I've done so many spaces at this point, and I find that I'm able to adapt well to just about any space. But there is always my flavor in every space that I do. So I think that's it. I hope that answers all of the questions and everything that you would want to know about me. And next I'm going to take you on a little tour of the spaces in this house. See you in a minute.